in a moment.
Okay.
I always tell secrets.
What should I follow, or what should I?
I'll put it on the Android Police Twitter account.
Look at this. That's serious business.
Well, as serious as we get at Android Police.
Whoa.
Everybody begin your
You know what I don't like about this new version?
Yeah.
Is that the Bluetooth quick menu from the volume rocker isn't there anymore? You know
Wait,
how,
really?
Yeah.
They fixed everything else about the volume thing,
It's
but
gone.
they fucked
Even when
that
I'm
up.
connected. When I'm connected, I get the little thing, and it's just like I can't. It was really nice to be able to just hit the thing and have the little breakout and go, no, I want to connect to that device.
You know what's interesting to me is that my phone is in Do Not Disturb all the time. So automatically when I updated to the new beta, it was on Do Not Disturb, and it automatically makes it hide from.
Mine do that too.
notification bar.
It hit all my notifications.
So like an hour later, I looked at Hangouts, for instance, and it was like blowing up, and I had no idea.
You were like, what's
Okay.
going on?
That happened to me too. I was in the press lounge and I was late for a meeting
Great.
because it had moved.
At I/O.
And I was on. It moved a half hour ahead of time, and because I was on Do Not Disturb, I did not get the email. And I'm looking at my phone, and I just pressed the Do Not Disturb button, and it was like a faucet. It was whoosh.
Yeah, this was blew
And I'm
my
like,
mind when
oh,
this happened. I was like, they
dear
wouldn't
God.
really do that.
I mean, we'll
Would.
talk about that, but sure.
So just
Are we
FYI,
rolling
everybody,
yet?
we
This
are
is good
live.
content.
We are live on the internet.
Oh, now?
Yes.
Oh, is that on the internet?
Hi, Internet.
But we're going to start the actual show.
Hello
Here,
and
just
welcome
now.
to the second annual
Oh, wait.
Android Police All-Star Beer and Pizza Podcast. Host IO.
Okay, just settle.
We are the
just-
News
just settle-
Avengers.
Just settle down.
Okay.
The News Avengers.
Yeah.
I like it.
We have
I
Android
like it,
Police,
but I don't
R7,
love it.
I
Twitch,
just-
Google.
As long as I know I'm Iron Man.
Hey,
welcome. Yeah, this is just an IRL stream. We can just keep this running all during IO.
This is going to be a.
This is what it takes to make the news.
Welcome.
We're on the air. What's
Yes,
up?
Twitch should be live.
Welcome to the
Do
internet.
you have our Twitch channel?
Just Android, please, right?
Yeah,
You're going big with that thing.
Oh yeah, it is
That's gonna
Android
be-
Police on Twitch.
You have a lot of life.
Because we did technically move to Android Police Podcast as our
On YouTube.
yeah.
This is mine, right?
Oh, no, mine.
I just got a notification. So I think it's just my phone.
Oh, I got
So it took us forever to get here. Like we had to like drive.
We are on
Yeah,
the
it's in
internet, by the way. Just
We're
FYI.
out of couch.
So
So
We
come
did
and
not
sit
know
down.
anything
We're going to start the
new.
podcast. Bring your alcohol and your food.
Pick someone's lap to sit on.
cozy.
Or grab a
Make it
chair
fresh.
and sort of get over here on this side here or something.
So if
We
we're
can-
the News Avengers, we jump directly to Infinity War, where there's just way too many people.
No one knows what's going on.
I still have not seen Infinity War. I
It
want
is
to
awesome.
so much.
Everyone's gonna get very quiet because spoilers are super terrible.
I watched it before coming just so I wouldn't get spoiled. I was convinced that someone would bring it
Yeah.
up on this trip.
Okay. If anybody wants to spoil it for me, that's fine.
No, it's
I
not.
haven't.
Infinity Wars dies in the end.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Cody, did you have dibs on this corner here?
No, I'll put your Derek can sit on my lap.
Yeah.
Pull it up to
Derek,
the-
if you want to put a chair right here,
Yeah,
there's
there.
space in the frame. This is our
I tried to
frame.
sit her as well as I could.
You should just like shout in every once in a while.
Do we all just look like ants?
Oh man, I'm like all like front and center here. I don't know if I like this. I gotta get more background.
Let me see, what does this look like?
I gotta scoot back.
Oh, okay.
I'll be the.
Whatever.
It doesn't look like you're gonna get much space out of that corner.
Yeah, that fixed some of the lighting.
You're just gonna give comments or just shout. Just shout as well.
Throw tomatoes when you don't like what we're
What's our
saying.
opinion?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a sheet. Who has the
It's Rick House.
It's under my pizza.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Bunch of numbers. Okay.
It's a little better.
Wow, this looks super fucking professional. I'm really happy with this.
Because it always does.
That's a thumbnail right there.
Yeah.
Blurry Cody staring.
No, don't make me. Okay,
Okay, I actually got everybody in
everybody
frame. I'm gonna
have
get
a seat.
pizza first, and good call.
We'll take care of one other.
Apologies to the several live viewers that we have that we are so
What?
disorganized.
This is candid news making.
This is news as it happens.
Yeah.
We've been at IO all day. We've been schmoozing with Googlers and drinking alcohol, and now we're here to bring you the truth.
And drink alcohol?
Also, yes, definitely, and pizza.
And
Eat
pizza.
Yeah. I'm gonna-
How are we doing this order? Oh my god, I can watch myself on Twitch while I'm on
Okay,
Twitch.
so it's not
This is
mute
great.
yourself if you're gonna like listen to the
Technology.
stream.
This
It's
is
confusing.
so I'm not in it.
Cody, did you set your mic to do the full surround?
Yeah, can anybody hear us?
Are there switches on it?
Yeah, oh god,
Where
there
is
are
Cody?
so
Is he
many
not
switches.
even in the room.
Oh yeah, I got this mic. It's on Omni.
Okay.
I'm,
It's on
I'm
Omni.
running Pete, this guy.
Anybody who's asking where is David, he
Oh my
is
God.
out this week. He has Google I/O related things to do.
That's what he told us. No one here really believes him.
Right. Is the sound on this? How does my computer make the noise? It should be muted. Computer. Windows for you.
You get a little sun today, Liam?
Professionals.
Did you get a little sun today?
I got a lot of sun today.
I can see that.
Liam's like a medium rare.
I can tell. Yeah, I like it. It looks good.
I can't go steal, but for you,
No.
Too bad tomorrow you
Yeah.
can't step out in the sunlight.
Yeah,
ever.
Well, you guys
You're one sun right now. Like
I
you
just
can't.
have to like dip myself in sunscreen.
They did hand that out.
Not to me.
Not to employees. It was an
They
attendee only.
handed it out. There were spray cans on all the tables in the
See, I
press
didn't see
lab.
those.
You know,
but
I
that's-
was-
I was in a hurry, you know. I was in a hurry to get somewhere.
All right. Are we all? Let's all get over here. Talking mainly to Cody and Rob.
No rush or anything. It's not like we're
Broadcast.
Rob getting
Not like live on the internet or anything. The internet, which by the way is very important.
Come on, this is exactly what they're tuning in for.
This is just as organized as any other Twitch stream.
Okay,
I
so
I would argue this is slightly more organized than most.
here's how it will go. I will do the intro, and then we will do in the usual Android Police order,
Oh, sure, yeah.
and then we will have our guests introduce ourselves in a this way to that way fashion.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow.
And just say
Yes,
who you
sir.
are and who you work for,
Director Ryan. Okay.
and what your likes and dislikes are.
I
You
like
know,
long walks on
Yeah,
the
long
beach.
walks- yeah, that's
We
what I
all
want to hear.
can't. We all can't. See
I want details.
Good.
No, I'm kidding. Don't do any of that.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna do a moment of silence.
I'm off camera, yeah.
You are, yes. Are you gonna shout at the microphone?
fair.
Would you?
No,
No,
covering these
Rob,
says
would
the
you
disembodied
like to?
voice.
Is Rob?
No. I want to be silent in the corner.
He's gonna watch.
Well, when you
Okay.
need to speak
You're
up,
clear.
just yell from the corner, and we won't.
If you want
say
People
who
walking
you
in
are,
front of the
and
camera
we won't
is-
explain anything.
This is going to be a real
Choose the voice
chill
off
hang,
of
and don't expect a lot of professionalism.
We need.
I know we brought Jason, but it's just we're just chilling out right now.
In light of the topic of professionalism, I am totally actually still checking audio.
Oh dear God!
I would like to announce. I just
I'm
figured out what
sure
the camera
all
What
of
is
our
this? What are you
viewers are
doing?
deaf now.
What is happening right now?
Yeah, just keep talking. It's not going to matter.
The delay is incredible.
I'm just making sure the audio is actually coming through.
It says it
Yeah,
says
it's
something,
probably
right? Yes.
So.
Are we all good?
Should I not have this?
Everybody
on?
say
That's gonna be
words.
distracting. Hello.
Rob, shout something.
Yo, what's up?
Something.
Flipping, bitch.
But it's your microphone. Check that game.
Yeah,
Sometimes we're talking like this. Blah blah blah.
All right,
And then other times we're like,
All right.
just making sure.
Sometimes.
No, that is important.
Okay. Serious business now.
You don't want to
Okay.
record nothing.
We're gonna do
No.
a moment of silence, and then I will
It
begin,
might be a good hit.
and we will go and
Okay.
thing like I said. Okay.
No pressure.
Welcome to the Android Police Podcast. It is our Google I/O special. We have many people here. Woo! So I am your host, Ryan Whitwam.
I'm Cody Toombs.
I'm Stephen Shank.
I'm Liam Spratling.
I'm Ron Mario. What's up?
Oh man, me too. I'm Jason Howell.
Oh man, Derek Ross, how's it going?
So yeah, we have lots of people, and we're going to go back talk about Google I/O.
We are.
That happened today, the first day of it. We had a keynote.
We survived.
Yes, we
day
all
one
sat
of
through
Google
a
I/O.
keynote or parts of it in some cases.
We stayed awake.
Or all
Part?
3 keynotes or 4 keynotes, depending on the different
And
presentation.
how do you
you went
define
to.
keynote?
It was a thing.
There was the keynote, and then there was the developer keynote, and
A lot of people like throwing around the word keynote.
yeah,
It makes it sound professional, right?
And moving on.
Well, I feel like the main keynote was like broad strokes, right? And then you got a lot more detail in the developer. What is it if it's? I guess if it's not a keynote, it's just a presentation or something. But
Who knows?
it's on the same damn stage, and there was the same amount of people in the audience, so it felt like a keynote.
So
Whatever.
yeah, what happened? What was fun and important? Android P, right? Everybody cares about that,
Right.
Since there's Android police here and Google, and
Yes, if anybody doesn't know, Liam.
yeah, Liam works at Google now. That's why he left.
Full disclosure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's here in a totally unofficial capacity, not speaking for anybody.
He's just a guy who
Yes,
likes Android.
But Larry
things.
Pace let him come here.
Just as a
Personally,
disclaimer.
he asked Larry. Yeah, so they talked about Android P a bit. And it's like there's a new developer preview. Developer preview 2 is a thing. A lot of us have installed it on our phones. How are we feeling about that?
There's not a ton new. There's what they mentioned. Find it. Yeah, but there's like the first preview had a ton of hidden stuff in it that was not talked about because it was so big, and this seems like a much minor.
It seems
more
like
minor upgrade.
the first preview was like stable. It was remarkably
It
stable.
was super
for a
stable.
first,
Stable.
a first developer preview, like it was great.
Yeah.
The second one, it seems a lot.
First round.
Project Treble is now on, what was it, like OnePlus and
Sony and
Sony.
Motorola.
Essential, the Nokia phone that's just now coming out.
but a bunch of OEMs, but interestingly, not every OEM with a treble device has the P beta.
Also
So
notably,
some OEMs turn their nose up at it.
the 3 biggest names missing are Samsung, HTC, LG, and actually I'm going to extend this beyond 3, Huawei, and whoever else is big. It's
Yeah, we could
none of the
totally
big
could have
ones.
done. Well, the S9 with Qualcomm doesn't have an unlocked bootloader, so you could never go back,
Yeah.
right? So that would be a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah.
So are they hosting images for all of these phones?
I don't think
Yeah,
that
Because there's
did
no
that-
way to
did
go
that
back
happen?
without a full
Oh,
wipe.
I didn't check the page, but I know they're
No,
shipping those
Google's
images.
page only has the Google phones.
Yeah, it would
I
only
assume
be
we're
Nexus,
waiting
but-
for the developer pages for these other OEMs to show up to like give us the images.
Right, because otherwise you're screwed and can never get off
Right.
the
I
data.
mean,
Will you
some
be
of these phones, like Essential, like they provide all the images for their phones. Like you could get that.
Yeah, so
It's
does
not a big deal.
OnePlus. They have just a download.
Yeah, but like, I mean, does like Motorola have a page? I know they used to years ago where you could like flash back to other versions of their software. Do they still do that? I mean, it was super janky back in the day. Like you had to like request access to a Google Drive page.
Yeah, Google Drive back in the
And
Moto
they would
X
like,
days.
and
I
they would
remember
send you,
doing
and
that.
they
You
would
got
like,
a
they would
link to the
approve
image.
you for the link.
Yeah,
Like it would take a week.
I wonder who it was that was like approving those.
yeah,
requests.
I remember that. that
Did
was
someone
their
get denied
job.
at some point? Like your Twitter is too negative about our company. No.
You are not allowed to fix your phone. You cannot flash back. Yeah.
Oh, and you know what? A lot of the images they would put on that were not like official builds, so you would never get OTA updates.
Really? So what I want to know is those of you that flashed on your device today, is someone, myself, that's gotten burnt in the past, on the beta program. So should I flash it on my daily
No.
driver?
No, definitely not. No.
It depends what you use. Well, Nova Launcher is broken. Okay, new features in Android P. There's a new gesture navigation thing.
It's you can turn it on. It's not on by
Where
default.
yes, but
Right.
But
and
thank
that's something
God.
to know going in, because when I flashed the new version, when I upgraded the new version, I was like, wait a minute.
So
what
if
is
you,
missing?
one of the gestures is if you swipe up, you open recent apps. And then if you swipe up again, anywhere in the operating system, you open the app drawer.
And like,
And-
it's nice to have access to the app drawer anywhere, but if you're on the home screen, you swipe up, you still just get recent apps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
It's
if you just want
it's
to open
super
your
hard
app
to open
drawer?
the app drawer now.
You have to swipe like twice
You-
or swipe
very long.
way,
You gotta do the
way
full
up.
screen.
Like it's sort of
Yeah.
like it lags when you get to the middle of the screen. It's like a rubber band. It's like, okay, you want to open the app drawer. This is bad, and I swear to
Yeah.
God, Google's not going to ship this because it is so bad.
But anyway, I think what happened is because you can access the app drawer from anywhere, the app drawer kind of became a system level interface now, and it is now broken on launchers that are not the Google launcher, or at least it's broken on Nova launcher. It just shows up pure white. You can still tap and it will open a random application that you can't see, but it's pure white.
Yeah.
And
Like the
really sucky
changes,
for people that use
in
Nova
DP2
launcher.
are a lot more significant than in the first one.
I use Nova 2 and I switched the app drawer to horizontal mode and it works.
Really?
Yeah.
That's right.
So I
He made half of Nova launcher. I should
You
just
know all the ins and the
complain,
outs. That's not fair.
complain directly to you about those.
So that's
So
how
if I
fixed it.
switch to horizontal, it's gonna work. Yeah, because you get
Yeah,
this.
that's what I got too.
Oh my god.
Well,
Okay.
it took me a while to understand that. Like, I would always use the double tap on multitasking button to swap between two apps quickly.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
time.
And at first,
Yeah,
I
there's-
didn't think you could do that. I was like, really? I
Yeah.
gotta swipe up, pull up the page, and then thumb through. But you can just swipe quickly to the right.
You drag the little pill
Oh,
sideways.
Yes.
oh. I'm
But you
learning.
know what? It's
swap.
like
I'm learning.
it like when I first did that, I thought like, wait, this doesn't seem right. It's really unintuitive because every time you do that gesture, it flips back and forth. But you
Yeah.
would think it's advancing through the order because the cards now are left to right.
Right.
And I was thinking like every time I did that, it would go to the next card. No, it's switching back and forth.
Right.
Like this is the way an engineer would think because it's like every time you do that, it's going to the last one, right?
Yep.
So then the one you were on before is
But
now
yeah,
the
you're
previous
right.
one.
Yeah, you're right.
No,
It
the
is-
launcher works.
That's gonna
Liam
throw
fixed
some
it.
people off.
good.
It works. Horizontal app
There you go.
pagination in your.
So
what the
that's-
hell is it called? These settings are really hard.
Yeah, bad job, Liam.
We have we
I don't
accomplished
think
real time follow up to our own immediate question.
Yeah. So, I mean, is it more intuitive though? That's kind of the
No.
question. Is that if you're going to move
I,
from what we had
No.
to a gesture-based interface, it has to make total sense. And I don't.
I think
feel
it's
like it makes
confusing
total
the way it
sense
is.
right
It's
I don't think
confusing.
iPhone gestures are intuitive either, though, are they?
I mean, I
wish
wish
David was
intuitive
here.
than
I
to
that.
feel like
say-
a few
Yes,
minutes
beloved
using an
iPhone.
iPhone 10 and people understand what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. It really
this
took me
is
very
like-
little time on it. Yeah.
But-
I don't think anybody's gonna like happen upon like that swipe to the
No.
right gesture.
There wasn't an
That's not
onboarding process
No.
to show
Oh,
you.
yeah.
No, but it's a
Yeah.
beta.
I mean, it's a
There
beta,
never is.
so they
Yeah.
could still add the onboarding in the future, right?
Yeah,
it's
So I remember whenever you first installed the what was it called, the Google Now launcher. There was no onboarding process where it showed you through the steps and so forth. So they could add that in the future as
That would-
newer builds
that would certainly help.
arise. So maybe by the time it ships, they'll add something like that to let people know how to access the content.
Yeah, so this is a beta, and it definitely feels like it.
Yeah.
The back button still appears. So recent apps goes away because you have a gesture to open recent apps. The back button is still there, like anytime you can press back, and the design looks terrible, and it just in general doesn't seem to work. You got to figure one day they'll do a swipe over thing, and there's still a system bar area that apps can't access. You have to figure when they actually have like working gesture nav that apps become full bleed and go all the way down to the bottom of the phone, and none of that happens yet.
Yeah.
And it's just janky and broken and a work in
And
progress.
so, and the other thing with the multitasking stuff now, it's like 3 steps to get into split screen mode.
split screen is
It's
dead.
like
How
they
do you
don't.
get the
It's,
split screen? I didn't even think about that.
I
So
use
swipe up.
I use it on a kind of
no,
regular
see,
basis.
you're swiping wrong.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Jason,
swipe all the way,
Jason
you
tries
mean?
to swipe up and gets the assistant, and then
No, yeah,
fails.
that was before my brain registered.
So
You said
long,
swipe up.
long press on home is the assistant. A small swipe up is recent apps. A large swipe up is an app drawer.
God.
It's
Oh my god!
awesome.
When you
so
say
not
that out
good.
loud, I realize it's doomed.
So anyway,
no, wait, hold on. This is a good experience. Try to get into split screen mode, Jason.
Okay, so what was it
so
again?
you
get it
swipe
in
up
or
to
all
recent
way?
apps.
Full way or
just
halfway?
A half a swipe.
Okay.
Half a swipe
Oh
up.
my god!
So
Okay.
how would you get into
how?
split screen mode? Do you think?
Yeah, guess.
I have drag the thing down.
That used to work. In,
Drag the thing down.
You should swipe
I mean,
across.
grab
halfway through
grab
screen.
the app that I want in one side or the other.
Nope.
No,
Here's a
you
no. Long press on the icon in the middle at the very top,
Okay.
Yeah,
That is-
one press on that.
No.
Yes!
Oh my god, that's so ridiculous.
Well, no.
And then you split screen.
Wait, you have an extra option. Oh, he has pin. What did you turn on?
I don't know.
All right, maybe.
I guess I can pin Allo.
He has Apple
Lucky
phone
me.
pin,
So you can
split
do
screen and
yeah,
pin.
split screen, and then
The pin
it
had to go somewhere.
is. This is like the first step to Google just like killing this feature because it's,
Yes, it must be
it's
done.
not discoverable at all.
No
It's a
way!
pain
I
in the butt
never
to
in a million
reach.
years would have thought to tap that. It just, oh man.
But anyway, Recent Apps is
Ugh.
Recent Apps has big giant thumbnails on it now, and it's kind of cool because you can see. They said
Yeah,
you
it's
can
cool.
like read text on it, which
Right.
is useful, which I've already done. Can you select text?
That's what.
'Cause
Yes, I can. I just did it.
It works.
Yeah.
So you can have
Oh,
Recent
yeah.
Apps open, long press on some text, and the usual text handles will pop up. You can
I mean,
copy
that's
and paste,
But it's
And-
tiny.
and that makes
Well,
it.
yeah, it is.
Well, it probably makes it really easy to copy and then swipe over to wherever you want to paste and
Right.
tap on it and hit paste.
Copy.
So that's super
swipe
cool.
Over, go to Twitter.
But
With my
that
Allo
also
message.
looks just like an iPhone where it's horizontally sliding thumbnails.
I don't like
There's lots of iPhones
I don't like the
out there.
horizontal tabs because it seems like if you're swiping up, then you have to change direction.
Yeah, and your phone is long, and it would make sense to have a vertically scrolling
Yeah.
list on a long screen because that's the way web pages go, and the App Store, and the settings, and notifications, and every other interface on the entire phone. This is the only thing that scrolls horizontally. So kind of strange.
Except for your app drawer now.
You're after
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah.
Your App Drawer that you made that I'm using. Yeah. So what else is in here? Settings finally got the design finished. It used to just be the front page was the new design and the secondary pages were old. And now that all has a nice unified design. Liam, what else is in here?
The touch ripple has been improved.
The ripple?
Yes.
Talk to me about the ripple.
Tell me
I would
about
like
the
to know the
ripple.
ripple.
Tell me about the ripple.
So the touch ripple, in material design, when you touch something, there's like an ink ripple.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
System
ripple.
wide.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
But in P, it's like a little more resolved. So whenever you tap something, you get to see a little bit more of the animation before it goes. It's like a little stronger.
Stronger
Just a
ripple.
little
Okay.
better.
This is what you get when a Googler is on the
Yeah.
podcast.
There are new animations all over the
Inside
place.
baseball.
Yeah, there
people.
are.
There's
Inside.
the new like system transitions are really nice.
Yeah, it seems like app-to-app transitions are a big deal. And,
And
there
also,
was
yeah,
Well,
jetpack
even
people
going
were talking about
from an
some
app
new
to
app
home,
transition
you
thing.
get like a whoosh.
yeah.
Like
So
goes
there's
back
that
and
one.
out.
And also when you switch between apps, so like if you click a link in Twitter that opens a browser, then it does that like
Like it slides in
sideways
from the
kind
side.
of thing. I think to like reinforce the like overview.
Again, I have to think eventually it's got to be a swipe left or right or whatever to go back.
I don't know, man.
Yes? No? Okay.
You know what's interesting though is that in the first developer preview, they changed the quick settings to like scroll up and down. In this one, it's back to like the paginated left and
Oh
right.
yeah, you're
Oh,
right.
it is? I'd like to scroll up and down.
No, well, you can't get it. You don't have it anymore.
Easy
It's
come,
over.
easy go.
Yeah. So now it's kind of like the multitasking thing. I guess.
what else is new in here? Anything?
Well,
Gestures?
Bluetooth, only because
Well-
it bugs me because I was totally getting used to it. but
Oh, so
Bluetooth
there's new?
adjustments from the volume rocker are gone now.
Yeah, that was
They used
weird.
to be there, and that was really handy.
Oh,
so that I could just
One thing I also
Page
want to know that's like on the same field as the ripple is that there's much heavier use of Google Sans throughout the interface now.
Yes, there is. Yes, it's Google Sans
What do we
now,
call
not
it?
Product Sans.
No.
Yeah.
So Google Sans is actually
Yes. I mean, throughout the notifications.
yeah, it's like
especially.
it's a full typeface, and
Yeah.
it's I mean Android I guess is kind of aligning with like the Google Material
Yeah.
theme, so that's why you're seeing.
It's the same font. It's just a name change, right? From
Yeah.
Product Sans to Google Sans. It's different?
Yeah.
My follow-up question was going to be what's different, but I know that he could explain that to me.
We don't
And it-
have
yeah,
it.
Only another podcast.
So, okay.
So are the glyphs?
So we've tweaked the curve
Stronger.
ever so
So
slightly.
well,
Is
I
the
don't really
tittle
know.
on the
I
eye?
don't really know like how much I can go into it, but
Really?
but there's a lot.
Is it
There's a lot
confidential
to it.
tittles?
It's-
Okay.
The family is like much larger. There's a text cut compared to like Product Sans was much more of a display face, I think.
Oh, so there's all sorts of additional
Right,
glyphs in the thing.
So there's and it just makes for better type scales and like use of various type
Okay.
sizes.
But the regular letters look different a little?
They're updated.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have like a
Because I mean, them
like
updating
a-
means the Google logo looks slightly different. Or
Knees now.
yeah.
Okay.
The angle.
So let's talk about.
So wait, there's still a ton more P.
No, I'm not stopping with their homework. Jeez, Ron.
Okay.
So let's talk about like all this digital well-being stuff.
dear God.
Oh,
In Android
which
P.
is not
They
in
don't
beta
have it
yet.
Yeah.
It's not there yet.
That was the most awkward. Well, not counting the very end of the keynote, but that was the most awkward part.
Let's talk about how terrible our software is for your life, and how we're going to fix that with more software.
By letting you know how much and how often you're using our software.
Google went on
Loosely
this big
translated,
long,
how awful of a person are you?
this big long like headline keynote speech about how using a phone for a while is intrinsically bad.
which I think is
And
ridiculous.
you should not do it, which is ridiculous, especially to a crowd full of people.
Like,
I want a cell phone implanted in my brain. Okay,
Like,
if you can do that, I'm
if you
good.
are using a phone and like not paying attention to another human being when you should be, you're a jerk. And that's not the phone's fault. That's your fault.
Yeah, it
So,
came across
right,
as
but-
out of touch old person speech because
Right.
if you read a book, that's fine. But if you read text on your phone, that's somehow like bad. And that's just so ridiculous to me. And people say that about
But
technology
that said,
all the time.
I think the dashboard looks really cool because I just like having data. Like I want to know these numbers.
Yes.
It's not going to do me any good. Like it's not
Yeah,
going to
so
make me a
there's the
better person.
dashboard that
But I want
gives
to
you-
know.
So
How many
wait,
times have I unlocked
sorry,
my phone today?
Are you supposed to
It's a
pull out your
lot.
phone, your dashboard, look like, man, I had 5 meetings today and I was on my phone for 3 hours. I'm a dick.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we're?
They need to make
Well,
a Google Fit app, but in reverse, that
Yeah,
chastises
yeah.
you when your numbers get too high.
Google slob.
Yeah.
But I think like
Can we register that app domain?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Slob-
another thing.
slob-
Slob dot app.
Yeah.
Write that down.
Garrett has been snagged.
registration is open.
Rob.
I don't know. I
Get
feel like
that
for me, all
going.
of that stuff seemed optional, right? Like it's a choice. Like if you are concerned about how
yeah.
much you're getting on Twitter, and
I
that's
guess. I mean, and like I said, like the data is cool. Like if you can drill down and see like how much you've been using this app, and developers can add in like more layers, like how much you've been doing certain things in the app. And, like that's cool, but I feel like it plays into this idea that like using a smartphone a lot means you're like addicted to your phone.
Yeah.
When it's like for a lot of people, it's their primary means of communicating with most of the people they know.
And
It's the
sometimes
way
their
they
primary
organize
means of-
their life, the
Right,
way they
yeah.
run their business.
and
but-
entertainment and information, and it serves
Exactly.
a ton of purposes.
Like you might be on your phone for like hours a day, just like watching video when other people are they're looking at a TV and watching video.
Yeah,
you know?
Yes, I think that's totally valid, but I also think that like if you are a person that uses your phone mainly for all those things, then that's fine, and you don't have to
Right.
like, look at this or care about it. But if you're someone who's like maybe concerned about the amount of time that you're spending scrolling through Instagram or something because you feel like it's affecting your mood, which like
There
I feel
are-
like
well,
you
my-
can-
Yeah, it's less about like other people are judging me that I use my phone too much, and like you say, I'm a dick because I do that. It's more about me looking inward and going, do I feel like my quality of life is improved or
right.
bad
you're
because of the
using
amount of
yourself-
time? And if there's a tool that helps me do what I
Yeah.
feel like I need to do to
So it's a
control my usage,
self-reflection.
then
I mean, yeah. And here, like the piece of this I
Right.
think is kind of fun is so in the dashboard you can like set time limits for apps.
yeah.
And like, man, I want to set a time limit for my Reddit app so I don't waste too much time during the day. I would do that.
well,
But it's not because like I feel like I use my phone too much, because maybe I use my phone too much to like poke around on Reddit.
Yeah.
Well,
But I can see it like
that's
that.
part of the reason why they created that. So you can do that on a pro.
So the
I
question
think
is,
that's
basically it comes down to, does this or is the phone normalizing you to the point that it's actually making an antisocial or less than necessarily social person more social? In which case it's a good thing. You should be spending more time on your phone. Or is it taking a person who's already social enough and making them too social or putting them too much on a social network? At which point that's where those people need to be paying attention to this.
Yeah.
Anyone else, if it's normalizing them, they're the ones who this actually could be harmful because it might be scaring them out of doing the things that they might benefit from.
I guess I see it a little differently. I see it more as, does using your phone in the way that you do make you happy? And if it doesn't make you happy, then here's a way that you can help yourself peel past. And maybe that makes you happy.
I would hope that people who feel that way, who have that sort of awareness of like their happiness level and how that relates to the technology they use, would be able to do that without like a new feature in Android. I would hope.
Yeah.
Well, but there are
software
apps
is
that
guiding you.
So it's not just.
What were you saying?
Even if you're happy, using Reddit for 5 hours at a time, maybe you could scale it back. Maybe you could use it for 90 minutes. You'd be just as happy.
Sure.
But if there's something reminding you, well, maybe I should try doing something else for a while. You would never.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. You can also have it just bug you. You can have it like remind you to take a break.
Right.
Yeah.
Be nagged.
Yeah. YouTube is gonna pop up now and say, "Oh, are you sure you want to watch?
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to be giving us this much ad revenue? Maybe you could tone it back."
Well, that's kind of an interesting thing for Google to do,
actually,
though, right?
Google's
money's worth here.
Google's actually being very enlightened.
To be fair, YouTube has fallen under so much fire for this exact topic in the past. I don't think it's been a recent topic.
I feel like has there been something in the news that drove all of this? It feels like it's a response to someone saying Google's not like responsible with our time or
falling down the YouTube hole and just watching video after video after video. I haven't seen it, but
I don't understand the motivation.
I mean, that's the thing people have been doing for years.
Yeah,
anyway.
there definitely have been kind of stories and threads this past year, let's say, in this like tech reawakening of people, tech addiction and that sort of thing. I think that's what it's tying into. I think it's totally tied into this kind of like this reemergence of people just analyzing like, how much am I letting technology into my life right now, and is that a good thing? It also ties into the Facebook stuff that's happening right now.
In my life.
I know. No.
Well, that's why I said it was
weird.
That's why I said it was like a self-reflection tool.
Yeah.
So you're gonna. I mean, I joked when I said that, but so you think you have a problem, and then now you're gonna have the data to back it up. Oh, I do have a problem. Well, look how much time. I wanted to go to bed at 11 o'clock at night, but for some reason I looked at Reddit for 2 more hours.
So they do have this. They have this wind down feature, which I think is actually kind of neat.
I like that.
Where you set like a time, and it slowly like turns your screen to monochrome to like say, hey, should be going
to discourage you from using your phone.
Yeah. I think that's kind of fun. Like you can still keep using the phone, but it's like a constant reminder. Like you told yourself you were going to go to sleep.
Yeah. You're failing yourself here.
Yeah. This is your fault.
And then there's the new Do Not Disturb feature, which blocks visual disturbances.
Man, this is so bad.
Liam and I were apparently both burned by this today. So if you flash Android P onto your device,
the new dev preview.
One of the ways that I use Do Not Disturb, and apparently Liam does too, is you can leave it on all the time, and you can tell it to only let certain apps through or only messages from certain people. And it's a good way to filter out all the noise that normally comes from phone notifications. And the change in Android P is block visual disturbances. What is it called? And what it will do is completely hide all evidence that you have a notification on the entire phone.
So like if you swipe down your notification shade, there's nothing
I know
there.
you're looking skeptical, but
there's nothing
the
there.
entire notification panel is blank.
No.
There's no icons in the status bar. It's totally insane.
I completely believe you. The skeptical look is the
They
holy
really
crap. Are you insane?
there's
Why
like,
would anybody do
There's
this?
like a line there that says like do not disturb is hiding notifications.
And it did not click with me. I saw it. I'm like, okay.
But you thought it was hiding when I did it before.
Is Jason just now discovering?
No, I was just putting it face down to see if it would turn it on.
So I heard about that. I didn't even. I got really pulled away during the keynote, so I kind of even missed some of these details. But I was talking to a Googler in the press area about exactly this feature, and the first thing I said is, I guarantee I will be turning this off as soon as I have this installed on a phone because I don't want to have my notifications buried.
Like the whole point of Do Not Disturb is to like not be disturbed, not to be unaware of what's happening.
Yeah. So what it does, it hides all your notifications, and when you upgrade to P Developer Preview 2, it enables that by default. And I've been running around Google I/O for probably 3 hours with all of my notifications 100% hidden, totally unknown to me.
I was sitting right here when he realized it was happening.
So how did it turn off initially, though? For you?
It just does. That's
just when you upgrade.
Do Not Disturb hides all notifications.
He just tries out.
I saw that too. That they were hidden from me. I had just assumed because I'm totally in the habit of when I'm somewhere and I want to like focus on what I'm talking about, I put my screen face down. So
and that's the thing, though, that goes into
one
do
way to
not disturb.
activate it,
Yeah.
right? So I just assumed I did that, but
Okay.
you're saying that it was just on by default.
Yeah, so I'm in the
That very
press
well could
area.
be.
I'm in the press area and I'm late for a meeting because the location changed and I'm wondering where I'm supposed to go. And I'm looking at my phone like I should have a message about why I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And I press the button and just a flood of notifications shoots out my notification panel. And I'm like, oh
no.
dear God.
Well, and I haven't looked at this yet, but the other thing that I brought up to the Googler was the way that they presented it. They said somebody can call you. You can create a whitelist
Right.
for
They're your
people.
starred favorite.
That's the way.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
way Do Not Disturb has always worked,
Yeah.
and that's how I use it.
Yeah,
you
and
like
My
create-
problem with this is, what if you don't use phone calls or text messages as your primary?
You can
Yeah.
set apps to be high importance,
Okay.
and then they punch through the Do Not Disturb.
You
That
Usually,
Slack
you would-
being a high
Yes,
importance
which is
app.
exactly what I do.
But that's such a pain in the butt.
And it's great because then I don't get personal emails about Amazon purchases. Don't need to make my phone beep.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to use your phone.
I
It's-
still,
it's
but
just-
like,
the
if
default now
I'm
is
if I'm on
crazy.
Do Not Disturb though, I still want to be able to like see my email notifications.
Yes. So you can turn this off. If you search for block visual disturbances, there are, I think, 6 checkboxes.
Jesus Christ.
Why are there
Yeah,
6
if you-
checkboxes?
Liam, do you have
You can
strong
actually-
feelings about this?
There are and if you uncheck all of them, it will
Liam,
go back to the old.
Google,
way.
explain yourself, Google.
Yeah.
If you're on Do Not Disturb, you can just hit the volume button and press the settings, and it takes you and just put Do Not Disturb, block
Okay.
visual disturbances, and then you get the options.
It's only like 8 steps. It's fine.
Very simple.
I mean, I do this too. It sounds like we use, and probably a lot of people do, is they use the Do Not Disturb as a Do Not Disturb sound wise. We don't want to hear the ping, the ring, the whatever.
Yes, you
Well,
can use it to cut your notification
Yeah,
spam.
but yeah. So that's the thing. Are you looking to mute your sounds, or are you looking to just have your phone completely
I'm looking to
void of
elevate.
any type of notification at all?
I'm looking to elevate important notifications.
Yeah.
And
I think that's what
lower unimportant.
and that's what this is
And
trying
it gives you the
trying
power
to
to do
solve, and that's why there's
that. No, not hiding them. That's
6
insane.
degrees of how much do you want to be notified by visual notifications versus no sound at all.
I feel like what we're getting to here is we want 2 modes. We want the old-fashioned, just
Yeah.
audio-only mute mode, and we don't have to dig through and hit all these individual settings just to toggle into the no visual.
it's-
Yeah,
there should be 2 separate.
it's fine when you figure it out. It's just it's a very strange default to take your notifications away. And I did not feel adequately informed that this was happening.
I mean, it's developer software, so like, okay, but
Right.
I feel like if you give anybody a phone where Do Not Disturb hides everything that's happening, that's going to
They
be
think the phone's
not
broken.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
My intuition is that this is really good feedback for them to decide what should be default.
I wonder if
And we
Google
are absolutely
PR.
going
there
to
should be
file this for
onboarding is,
feedback.
hey, by the way, the new default of Do Not Disturb will not only mute sound but visual notifications as well. Please tap here to configure.
Yeah.
There should be an onboarding. As well.
I imagine, yeah, when this releases to any sort of actual user outside of this developer preview, this isn't going to be on by default. This is the kind of thing that you go into settings, you set it up, and hopefully.
I would have preferred that. I would have preferred you turn this on rather than it be on by default.
Yeah.
Which Google does for a lot of stuff. Like even now playing on the Pixel where it scans in the background, that's off by default.
Yep.
For like a headline feature that would be in like
which is
advertising.
actually a really kind of cool, non-invasive feature to begin with. It's
Yeah.
not like having it on by default ruins your life.
That's like
either.
I feel that's like
that
a
notification
developer
for
preview thing. I feel like they would leave that on in the final.
So one change, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. One change I would definitely make to this right up front is they need to extend an API. So individual apps can basically say, for example, Slack or any messenger you can name. This person, when this person messages me, whitelist them.
Yeah, you can do that.
No matter what
platform. What I heard
person
is you
gets
can
through.
extend an app.
No, it's called a starred contact. It's been in Android forever.
Yeah, but most apps, if you go to
They're usually more
Hangouts,
contacts.
if you go to Slack,
It's probably just
Slack does not
contacts.
have
Yeah,
contacts.
it's a different contact.
They just post
Yes.
a notification.
You're right.
They need to extend the actual.
It works
if this
for
person on Slack messages me, that always gets through.
It works for like phone calls and Google Apps.
Yeah.
The start message
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
That part works.
I
but-
think what I would like to see is 4 do not disturb things, or an additional.
That's how we simplify it. For
And,
everyday
no.
user.
I want an additional do not disturb level where there's like silent priority and hide everything no matter. And
I mean,
I
this
feel
is
like it's
just like
airplane mode.
this is like the priority mode in
Airplane mode, the data
Lollipop.
still works.
It's
So
like so many levels.
Yeah.
It's called airplane mode.
Yeah, that's what the
Airplane
do not
mode with
disturb thing
data.
feels like. It feels like airplane mode. But yeah, I want a new level that says hide everything absolutely 100%, and that would be a very clear message that I'm stepping things up to an insane level of notification blocking, where you don't see anything, you don't hear anything. It's like a do not disturb level called like ignorance, where I just don't want to. I don't want to know what's going on at all.
We've gone ignorant.
I heard that like the Spaceballs. Like,
Yes, that was.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad we're on the same page there. Yeah.
Other Android P features.
So they said they have the new what do they call it? The battery saving AI thing. What was it called?
Yeah. Oh,
Adaptive
man.
battery?
Adaptive battery,
Yeah.
where it's
Which-
going to guess what apps you might use, and it will like put the other ones to
Whoa.
sleep.
Didn't they
Not
say-
guess. Artificial intelligence
It'll
are
artificially.
going to machine learn
Yeah.
It's gonna
how
guess.
you use your
intelligence?
phone.
It's gonna guess with presumably high accuracy.
Is it single-handedly going to reverse climate change?
I mean, what's going to happen is it's going to be more aggressive about lowering apps' access to background tasks. It's all job scheduler based. So apps are going to get less access to the internet, less access to running in the background. And all that's going to happen is there's going to be certain intervals where job scheduler is going to say, okay, you apps can connect to the internet and run in the background and do updates and stuff like that. And for apps you never use, that window will be further and further apart. For apps you use more often, they'll update more often. I don't know why you need AI to do this when it's basically how often do you tap on an app icon?
Because AI is the way everything.
I think
It's the latest marketing.
Yeah, it has to
Everything's
be in
made
everything.
just a little bit better.
If Google can apply TensorFlow to a thing, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, AI is a packaged thing. You just add it.
It's kind of like cloud services.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
AI is the new cloud. If you can make an AI cloud, then like you're gonna make all the money.
It's actually changes too.
AI blockchain cloud. Yeah.
AI block. We need to go talk to VCs.
I mean, we are in
We're
the
the
rally
rallies.
right now.
I know.
I feel like somebody isn't busting in the door right now with a fistful of money. Something's wrong.
AI blockchain cloud.
AI is
Shout it
really
out the
just-
window.
Got it.
AI is just stevia. You add it to everything, it just tastes better.
So
I'm sure someone said that.
they finally talked about the Slices API that
Yep.
that I personally exclusively found in the first developer for okay. I get a look from Cody.
I've been trying to get around. Seriously, this has been such a time crunch. I've been trying to write this for 2.5 months.
Can you talk about Slices? Are you involved in this at all?
I can talk about what we talked about on stage.
Yes, please do. Give us a compact version of your talk.
I mean,
That might actually be
a
more than
definitive
I-
explanation of what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just snippets of an app's UI. Right now, it's based on templates, from my understanding, that can be inserted into other parts of the UI.
Okay.
Oh,
And
really?
the demo I saw was in Google search. You could search for Lyft, and in the search results,
Yeah,
in like
it's-
the in the inline like autocorrect results or whatever it's called, in the search suggestions, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You would get like lifts to an option to take a lift immediately to your house. Like, don't need to open the Lyft app. It's just like boom.
So you
and
just
action.
search
Yeah,
for
it'll show
you
you-
wouldn't
yeah.
search for a destination.
Not even
No,
that.
just search
You just
for a
type
list.
the app name and it gives
Yeah.
you common destinations,
Yeah.
the time,
Well,
estimated prices.
I mean, and
So-
this is connected to the actions thing.
Yes, there's
you
a whole
see
new
those
actions
in
API.
your app drawer. There's a line now for
Which-
actions that it
yes.
thinks you might use.
Which, by the way, is different than the notification actions API.
Yes.
This is a separate actions
Yes.
API.
Google needs to work on this.
And this shows up in the weird app drawer thing. So below
Yeah,
the,
that thing.
It takes up a lot of space. You
But
can turn
look-
it off.
so the app drawer now, there's that top row of suggested apps, and then just below that are 2 suggested actions.
Suggested actions, which, by the way,
Does anyone
I mean, I've
have
been running
good
this for a day
suggestions?
now, and those are 2 really
So-
bad choices.
Okay.
I mean, it's based. Developers have to like do this, so it's
Do you
probably
want to talk?
taken
What are
from
your
a very-
actions?
Before we move on to actions, I'm curious. I know Slices, they support it by, was it Jetpack? So they could work on older Android devices. We're only going to see them in P with search.
So the way
I
Slices
asked
works
a lot
is
of questions
Yeah.
about this. and they-
there's
lot
host
going on
apps.
here.
There's host apps for Slice, and then there's provider apps for Slice. And host apps are going to be like Google Search, maybe Google
It's
Assistant.
Google Search,
Probably.
Google Launcher.
I mean, these are all the Google apps.
Well, no, I asked very specifically about this, and they at first they were pretty much dodging it, and they finally admitted, yeah, we don't really have a third-party plan right now. It might happen.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Could possibly, and that's as much as they gave me.
Yeah, it's still a little fuzzy about why do they go through all this trouble for a search suggestion? It doesn't seem like it's worth it.
So, actually, continuing what I just said, one of the things that I want to say concerned me, but I don't want to make it sound too creepy. But they asked me what the use case would be for a third-party app supporting or hosting Slices, and my first answer was, "Why not another launcher?" And they looked. There was a genuine look of surprise. And granted, the person I said this to was not on the team that did Slices. He was on a related team. But
I mean,
he looked at me like, "Oh crap, I didn't think about that." And he pulled someone over to answer that for me, and that person just he clearly was more prepared for that question, but he didn't have an answer for it. And what it's kind of telling me is Google really is not expecting this to be a thing anyone can do. It's a Google and maybe partners type of thing. You cannot host Slices if you're not in the circle of trust.
I'm not sure there's going to be such a huge demand for it because it doesn't seem.
Well, it depends on how well it works.
I mean, think about it. You could have like a fast food app and then integrate a delivery app in a Slice there.
Yeah,
I can see possible use cases there.
It seems like it's made for the assistant, but they didn't talk about that yet, and they wouldn't anyway. We'll have when all of this comes out, we'll see the proprietary Google app side of things, and then maybe it'll make more sense. Right now, it's kind of weird.
How cool would it be if somehow it ends up tying into Lens? Imagine if you view something
like
like
it found a
Lens.
book and it shows you the Amazon buy button and you can press it or something.
Yeah.
Or, not that they would ever do that with Amazon.
Well, it'd be a Google Play Books buy. Come on.
Yeah. Oh yes, sure, of course. Google Play Books. That's gonna be around.
Well, or you scan a picture of a band's poster, and the next thing it does is pop up a Ticketmaster, so you can order tickets for their next show and Lyft if that show happens to be on in like 2 hours.
Vertical migration there.
That could be some good stuff.
So, what are everybody's action suggestions in the launcher?
In the launcher,
Are they good or are they crap? Because
I feel like the bench
We
is
have some
pretty
opinions
shallow
on
right
this,
now.
I mean, we have a broad enough selection here that maybe I don't think I have any now.
I still
Did I
maintain
break
that
it?
I don't think they've been tracking our actions long enough for this to be really based on
There's
data. I
definitely
think it's
Look, I've
mostly
sent
guesswork.
email all day. What it should be is an email-related action. I don't think it's that
I
complicated.
actually feel like mine are pretty good. I have
What do you
one.
How
one
long
is to
have you-
go
How
to-
long have you been on DPQ?
Have you been on it longer than
that's-
us? I think that's a bad question to ask.
It's a very important question to
No,
ask.
no, no.
Sensitive question.
My two actions are go to the Assistant tab in Photos.
Mine was that too. It's a UI that I have never used
Oh,
before.
I go there all the time.
Intentionally.
But the other one is go to Resense and Play Music, which I feel like is
That was mine too.
Wait, can I see? What did you say?
I mean, and those are both
okay.
Google things.
No, those are mine too. And those are both interfaces I've never opened before.
I guess they just happen to be
I
ones that I open all
I
the
don't
time.
have one.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Did
it's,
Nova Launcher break
it's,
this?
it's all of the Google stuff. I mean, because other developers haven't done
had
what
a
they need
chance
to
integrate
do.
this yet. Yeah,
Huh.
there's only a small subset apps that have this available.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very limited
That's a good
partner
point.
list.
Okay. Do we have any other Android P things we wanna complain about?
Did
Liam,
you all, I
what's-
know
what's
you
good?
took a picture of the giant P made up of all the feature words, right?
Oh yeah, what was in that?
Yeah, I have.
Shoot. Oh, I should have run that
I actually
by
did not
someone
look at
important.
You didn't take a picture of the giant P.
Oh,
I think we have
Oh,
one.
I need to
That
see
sounds so
that.
dirty. But
Let's see.
I actually did not see it.
Where was the giant P? I'm serious.
I genuinely
they had
do not
like
know
they do in
something.
every keynote. They have the letter with all of the little words.
Work profiles,
Oh.
dashboard.
We can talk about other new Android stuff. I don't know if it's directly related. They're going to do this what is it called? Up bundling?
Dynamic bundling.
Dynamic bundling.
Ah.
Okay, so Artem is currently crying in a corner somewhere because they have changed the way APKs are distributed, which is probably a serious problem for APK.
And it's like we don't know exactly how all this is going to work yet, but it's it's
Sky
all
is
very
falling.
weird.
Yeah, so developers will now bundle a bunch of bundle like all of their APK output together into
Some other kind of file.
into some new file that has a
That
new
they give that to
extension,
Google.
but it has a new extension that is not APK.
They give that to Google, and then Google like breaks it up and signs it and distributes it to devices
Yeah.
based on the device model, the language.
Wait, no,
All
it's
served a la carte.
it's language, architecture, and display density. So Google's going to chop these up into ultra customized APKs specifically for your device and language.
And so, and
it's
the,
going to result
the
in
upshot,
smaller
yeah, the
app
upshot is like
that's
it's
good for
smaller
you,
and it's
but-
faster to install.
Yeah, so you're gonna go. So how many it's how many languages? So if you're APK Mirror and trying to host an APK that people can download, it's how many languages on Earth times how many display densities in Android times how many different architectures are out there. So it's like 10 billion APKs.
Yeah.
So developers
actually
really have to
tutorials.
one APK
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
So this
Android
all happens
Studio
in
is
the
gonna
back end,
spit out
correct?
a giant blob,
Okay.
and it's gonna go up to the Play Store, and the Play Store is gonna cut it
It'll
up.
do its magic in the back and slice it up. And
It's
one
backwards
slice.
compatible to forever because the Play Store still spits out APKs. It just spits out really small, really customized APKs just for your device. And it's great for everyone who's not Artem.
But it also is a pain if you want to like back up an APK and like install it on a different device.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to have an APK that's for that device.
What I think is going to end up happening is a lot of people are going to be on like a very common setup where it's going to be like English, latest ARM CPU, 1080p display, and that's going to end up working for the majority of devices for people that care about this stuff. But APK Mirror gets all these weird. I'm sure you can talk about this. All these people from weird countries trying to install Telegram, in not weird countries, but you know.
Hey,
they've
been called
mainstream.
Yes, not what you would expect to get from the general American device selection. People in Russia trying to install Telegram, and everyone on Earth trying to install Android Go.
And that's the thing; it's not the mainstream users who generally need the availability of this offline.
So speaking of Android Go, is that what brought about this change for a smaller, light-sized app?
That is a very good point. I don't know, but
I think that is a
sounds
very dominant like incentive for it.
But
I don't
they
think that was the primary reason.
But they have
sense
Android
based on
Go
the reasoning
specific
for Android Go.
apps.
Yeah,
And they're
it really
encouraging
does.
developers to make apps specifically for Go.
But as the only person on Earth with a ZTE Tempo Go,
I mean, no, there are at least a few dozen others.
I did tear downs on some of the Android Go apps with the understanding that Google said we really, really care about space used and really want to optimize it. And when you do a teardown of an Android Go app, holy crap, is it terrible. I'm talking about all sorts of different display densities, framework bits going back to Gingerbread, apps that are bigger on Android Go than they are on the Pixel 2 due to what I'm going to assume are like compiler errors. There's a lot of apps that should be like a few K in size and they're actually 10 megabytes. I don't understand
It's like
why
the
this
actual
happened.
APK is not like the data that they're caching.
No, this is like
this
is like wipe the phone and then pull system and then decompile those APKs.
Yikes.
It's really bad and not optimized.
I would also argue that the impact of built-in APKs being larger is less than APKs that you're downloading. Is it not?
I mean, they have to sit on there no matter what. And I mean, this is Android Go is a strategy that said we need to remake this app from scratch so that we can save 40 megabytes. And that to me says all of these little like 10 megabyte apps that shouldn't be 10 megabytes matter since they've said that amount of storage matters.
To be fair, there is a big distinction between how big is it on the device versus how big is it on the wire. if you can move an APK, depending on market, if you can move an APK to a phone and it takes, let's say, 3 meg, and once it's installed for whatever crazy reason, let's pretend it hits 10
It gets
meg.
way bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. Then in the right market, that's a great thing. You just saved a ton on the wire.
Of download space, yeah.
But
these are still 8 gigabyte phones.
yeah, when you're talking about Android Go, it's an utter mess where you really just need to have the storage space be as small as possible. And sometimes the wire matters, sometimes it doesn't. It depends.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Android Go.
These are 2 different questions.
Android Go is a really scattershot mess where there's several different. Some people made apps for the developing world. Some people made apps for low-end phones. And by developing world, I mean apps that focus on really bad internet connectivity, where YouTube Go only works in 480p and lets you download videos and lets you share videos locally over Wi-Fi. So like it's totally built for places with no internet, where other stuff is just built for, let's make this run really fast on a cheap phone. Google Maps, for instance, does not support offline at all. It's just a website.
A progressive web app.
Yeah. So there's several totally different directions that Android Go goes in. That makes no sense because there was no one at Google talked to each other, which is
It doesn't happen
very
now.
common. Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to talk about the really suspiciously good assistant phone call to the hairstylist?
My God. Yes.
Yes.
So Google Assistant said in this phone
Yeah,
call.
it's trying too hard.
And my Google Home has never said to me.
So
it's thinking.
Yeah. If you didn't see the demo, the Google Assistant, the robot voice, like a real person, made a phone call to a hairdresser and spoke to the person that works at the hairdresser place and made an appointment on behalf of the user. And you don't really need to watch it. It sounded like a phone call between 2 people.
And that is why it is unbelievable.
And I mean, the best part was
like natural.
it
Thinking
could
language.
recover from misunderstandings. I was thinking, prior to the podcast, we ordered some pizzas. We had some difficulty. They didn't understand the spelling of the address here. I wonder how many times it could try to explain this to a
There's
person
no
in
way
different
this works.
ways.
Yeah.
To try to use the NATO alphabet. I mean, how is it going to?
And like they showed it, like they showed 2 calls. Like the first one was pretty straightforward. It was an English speaker who sort of understood what the AI was asking. The second one was somebody who was a native speaker of another language and didn't quite get what the AI was asking, and it still muddled through and figured out like what they wanted. And I feel like I can't even do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like the idea that I would trust my Google Assistant do that is very.
And this is a
outlandish.
piece of software that struggles to play music or
I think
just-
that's the most.
Yeah, I have
feel
no
like
faith.
and there's a server
During one of those calls, I genuinely could not understand what the real person at the other end was saying.
Yeah.
That act, it wasn't just an accent. Part of a word was clearly just not fully
Yeah, they were
pronounced.
talking over each other at times.
That was impressive if it was real.
But, I feel like I think those are both totally real, but I also think there is a server in Google that has like dozens of failed, hilariously bad conversations.
Oh yeah, they definitely portrayed the best of these scenarios for us.
I can't imagine trusting this though, because you're gonna have the Google Assistant call your hairdresser, and it's gonna say, "I'm sorry, I can't answer that right now," and hang up, and you're gonna feel like such a jerk. You're gonna call the hairdresser. "I'm sorry, I tried this stupid robot thing. It didn't work.
I'm sorry, I had my robot call
I
you."
actually really just want a haircut appointment tomorrow at 2
No
o'clock."
problem. Okay,
Yeah.
so here's the thing. They're saying that this is going to be rolled out very slowly, and it should
with
be.
good reason.
Yeah.
What I'm expecting, though, they just said one of the other announcements was that there are 6 new voices for Google Assistant, and you got to assume, first off, and I don't mean for this to become a political point, but realistically, they're going to use the women's voices primarily when this feature is active. I don't think anyone's going to really argue this point. It's probably going to be the women's voices because people are less likely to argue with women's voices.
Oh.
Anyone?
But are they more likely to give men what they want?
That's an interesting question.
That's another
Fair
podcast.
point. And there might be special circumstances. Maybe it'll.
Assistant does default to a female voice. I think that's common in most places, right? Most digital assistants.
All the
default
assistants are female.
to
Yeah.
female. Yeah.
So here's the thing: when they're calling up, that means all of the places that are going to be receiving these calls, they're going to be hearing the same 3 voices frequently.
Well,
But they
They're
will
so
never.
generic sound.
They're going to start recognizing them.
it doesn't matter.
This
I mean,
is the thing
goal
that's
is
going
just
to
I don't know
have
how
it-
much it's going to actually be used.
No,
to the point
I
where
don't
one
think it's so
person
much
would
the. I
receive
don't think it's so
multiple
much
calls
like
and
the
start to
sound.
recognize.
It's not like the sound of the voice. It's going to be the enunciation. And despite Google, like
Yeah.
Google talked about the WaveNet thing they got from DeepMind, and like and the voices do sound more natural.
Yeah.
There are still there are inflections. There are like pieces of the dialogue that sound artificial. Like you can tell,
But
and
man,
people
it's come a long
are
way.
keyed in to knowing what sounds real and not real. And like people will notice.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
Okay.
I think what I'm
Official, no response.
Second
Official, no comment.
What I'm curious about, as far as this whole making phone calls thing, is this idea that when you're, maybe you were there when we were talking about this this evening, but when you're chatting with a chatbot and you say, "Are you a robot?" Many times it'll say, "Yes, I am." And I feel like if it's a company like Google getting behind this idea of like, yeah, now your assistant can make this robot call for you and do these things, effectively decepting the person on the other line, Google has a responsibility to have some sort of way in there to disclose that responsible disclosure to the other person, because otherwise the other person is going to feel duped. I mean, there's a million ways that can go bad, right? And then it's on your behalf. So then you're screwed because you're the one that fired it off. So I'm curious to know how Google is going to address that if and when you get to the point where you can have your assistant make a call for you.
Yeah.
How is that appropriately disclosed to the person on the other end? And if it is that person really going to stay online when they know that your robot's calling for you?
Well,
Like,
to be fair, 9 times out of 10, if not higher, it's going to be a robot saying, "Hey, we want to give you money."
well,
So
yes,
a lot
right.
of people will
There's
be
something to
very
be
open
gained.
to that.
Absolutely.
And if a lot of people, I think if a lot of people know they're talking to a robot of some kind, they're going to be more inclined to say, "Okay, we now understand the pattern we have to talk to you, so we'll say this to you." So it actually could be beneficial if they understand that. And the deception might actually work
Or
against
if like,
maybe.
I mean, or like it just needs to say, "Hi, I'm a robot."
Yeah,
I have a
hello,
message.
this
the
is-
second I know I'm talking to a robot,
It-
I'm hanging
It
up.
should say,
Like,
"Hello, this is the Google Assistant calling on behalf of Ron. I would like to set up a haircut appointment,
See,
whatever."
I'm surprised
And
they did,
that's
because
why
they
I-
clearly say it's an assistant.
Yeah.
Why not get the Google name out there? Can you
Yeah, it
people
would
to
be
do this?
it would inform them.
Maybe
A little
maybe
more.
the version they let people use will do that, but
Yeah.
for the purposes of the test, they didn't want to tell.
So,
people.
yeah, they
So you
wanted
guys
to
are
show
thinking-
it
you
was
guys are thinking
super
version
effective.
1.0 of this. Version like 4.0, it's robots talking to robots.
I guess find it ironic. We have these
Right?
At that point, it's
super
just-
smart digital assistants communicating over plain old telephone lines.
Yeah, right.
Why?
Right. You call the hair salon and their robot picks up.
Yeah, what you want
And
is
you
the
have the
robot
robots
secretary,
talking to
so you don't have
robots.
to pay somebody.
I mean,
Yeah.
like you
I mean,
said, it's
and
kind of
that's-
silly. It's kind of silly, like
It
two robots
is.
talking over a
The
telephone
worst
line.
possible link.
but-
Yeah.
In version 8.0, it's going to be all, it'll be digital. But, we got to have phases here. Eventually, we're going to get to that point.
Yeah.
Robots talking to robots is just the
Yeah. Well,
That
as
just, like, puts my line.
as Woken just asked in the comments, is there such a thing as an asexual voice? And come on, that's the robot voice right there. If
I
two
guess.
robots are talking to each other,
Yeah.
they don't care.
So how many people would let this thing call a place that you frequently go to and place an appointment?
All right, so is
on
it
your
calling
behalf?
from like the
The
assistant
thing-
I'll
the
do
thing
it
is-
just to
phone
try
number,
it.
I mean,
or is
the
it
thing
either
is,
try
right.
phone number?
If I was confident that it would get it right,
No, it launches. It launches now.
Tomorrow, yeah.
I
Who
would definitely
would
try
let
it.
call?
I would
Try it.
definitely try it. But if it was a thing where I always felt like I needed to check on it, make sure
Yeah.
it did it right,
You gotta be able to trust it.
Don't you want a recording so
Yeah,
that
we
you
gotta
can
get
know
Right, you
what
can check on
happened?
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I do
But
want
I
to
don't
know
wanna
what
do
Because
that
then
every
you get
time.
charged a late fee for the thing that you didn't show up
I know,
for
right?
because they got
Yeah.
it wrong.
Like I told Google
Yeah.
I wanted this on the 5th and not the
In-
4th,
in-
and it screwed it up.
In the demo, it reports back with a calendar appointment that just says, "I made you an appointment. Here's your calendar entry," and it's like, did you get the other person's consent for this, or was it just a bunch of
My client is coming for
expletives?
a hair appointment at 2. You better be ready.
Right. It said that to hold music and hung up.
It's like the best I could do is tomorrow at 3, but no, I'm not going to be. Oh, sorry.
So fun fact, their hold music was literally Carly Rae Jepsen, Call Me Maybe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Timeless classic. Yeah.
But what's interesting, I mean, the reason all of this is a phone call and not a web app is because there needs to be a back and forth as to what people's availability is. And it can do that? I don't think it can do that. I don't trust it to do that. You know, it's going to report back to you with a calendar appointment. You'll be like, you scheduled me a haircut for when? 2 a.m. in the middle of the night? Who told you to do that?
No,
Like,
if your regular human assistant does that, you can fire them. But
Right.
you're not going to fire.
well, they would
Google.
have common
You switch to a
sense.
different voice.
You switch to Alexa. After that, you know?
Yeah, that's going to go well.
You work through them all. You're fired, John Legend. I'm sorry.
So, yeah.
Who
So
else you got?
By the way, can we just all agree we want Sean Connery next?
well, they said we can do WaveNet and can synthesize voices. And oh, by the way, here's a guy we drug into the recording studio again.
Where did they get
Too.
Scojo going full on her with it? That's what I want to know.
Oh, was that a
Scarlett?
celebrity in the?
Scarlett Johansson. from
Yeah,
her?
yeah.
I talked to her.
Oh, okay, yeah.
How you doing?
So,
Just talk, just
So
talk.
in the same vein of products
Love
that
that.
we think will never ever work, they showed a Google Maps augmented
Oh,
reality
Jesus.
walking demonstration.
They showed this last year.
That was cool
apparently.
last year. We don't
It
need
just
Tango
it had,
anymore.
it had a different look, and it wasn't for like walking, but it was like that same UI. But now it's like walking directions. It has overlays.
Wait, now it's outside. Now it's not just Tango.
yeah.
I mean, it's still not now. but
Oh
someday.
yes, the Tango indoor,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever.
So I mean, no, this does look really cool. I don't know if I believe it'll work.
I think the interesting thing for me was the new positioning, because
Yeah.
in New York I find that the headlights, I can't really rely on it. But if
Yeah.
if that
Yeah,
were
compasses are
that's-
garbage.
Yeah.
It's just the worst thing ever. I zoom in and Google Maps has the flow of traffic on the map, and that's how I determine north and south and
That's
what
nice.
direction.
So
Yeah, nobody wants to come out of the subway and start going recalibrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to
my-
do. You have to do the weird nerd dance to recalibrate your compass every time you use it.
So my very first I/O, on very bad advice, I stayed outside of San Francisco, and so every single day I took the BART into the city, and I came popping out of the same subway station at a different exit every single time, and I would either pop out at the right point and end up walking the wrong direction and then having to turn around, or I would pop out on exactly one of the total opposite ends of the block and end up circling the block just so I could get to where I was going. And I would have loved.
Now you can just follow a fox to where you need to be.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, they have a
what was
guide
that
dog.
Fox?
It's a helpful
That's a little
fox.
weird. but-
It was just a, I don't know. I
To
guess
make
it
it
was an
playful.
AR core demo.
I mean, it's better than a paper.
Um,
It was a whimsical sort of thing.
Yeah, it was all very pie in the sky. Like, oh, one day maybe we'll do this, which is a very weird thing to announce at a tech conference in between products you're actually launching sometime this year.
Yeah.
I didn't. I
Yeah,
didn't
all the other
understand
map
it.
stuff was next couple months.
It
This
seems
is
custom
maybe-
designed to be misinterpreted.
Okay. Do we have any other things that we want to talk about that they actually announced or talked about in the keynote?
New Google
Because-
News.
And whatever. I feel like we should talk about the things that they didn't.
Smart
cover.
Compose. Smart
Whatever.
Compose. A robot's gonna write all your Gmail messages
This is
all-
a bad
all
idea.
for you.
No. Okay.
Robots are calling for you and they're emailing.
I feel like we should talk about the fact that Google did not even mention Wear OS.
Yeah, especially because there are what's new sections for Wear, Auto, and TV.
Did what's new
And-
for Wear happen yet?
I
think that's
believe
tomorrow.
Wear's tomorrow. They already
TV
did
was
TV.
today.
Yeah.
And Auto, I think, is tomorrow.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, they just changed the name of it, and it seems like they've been paying a lot more attention to Wear OS compared to before, which is not saying much. But how is this platform going to survive?
Wear is dead until new hardware comes out. There's nothing you can fix in software. Nothing you can do in software is going to fix a 4-year-old processor.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. It's just junk until a new chip comes out, which is supposed to happen soon. It's never.
We've heard this. We don't.
Yes.
We don't have any.
Yes. Word through the grapevine is that a new Qualcomm chip will happen eventually at some point, which would be great. Until then, there's no amount of software you can do to make it good.
Don't buy a Wear OS device right now for any reason.
I mean, even with the new Qualcomm chip, are we that? Like, I feel like the steam has been completely drained out of Wear OS.
I think the direction of Wear OS is bad. Trying to make it more standalone was a mistake.
I mean, the guy in charge of it, Dave Singleton, left Google, and there's a new person in charge of it now, Samir, somebody. So new direction for Android Wear.
Hopefully, even if hardware, improves speed, battery life, it's not going to draw people back. Like, you can't bring people in with, hey, it's less worse than it used to be. You need some carrot out there.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do.
I mean, app support is better than Tizen.
Yeah, app support is great. It's like I just don't want to put. I don't want to run a lot of apps on my watch. I want to run maybe a few apps.
Yeah, and I mean the notification syncing is cool in that you don't need everybody to specifically support your watch. It'll just kind of work.
But like notifications on Wear are so bad right now.
It's better than no notifications at all.
It's only a little.
Wear ruined the display of notifications.
It did,
but they could unruin it. And the functionality
they've left it ruined for over a year now, so I don't know if they're gonna do that.
Yeah,
but they unbundled the notifications in 2.0. That's what broke it for me. Because if I have 10 emails, I don't want to scroll through 10 screens to get to other non-email notifications. I want to just have a bundle of emails.
Right.
That would make more sense. But apparently it doesn't make sense to Google. I feel like they did some of that stuff to make Wear OS work more seamlessly with iPhones. It's like the same reason like the do not disturb on your watch is not connected to the phone anymore. It's like an independent thing. It like works with iPhones, and apparently Google says like a third of Wear OS devices are activated on iPhones.
Interesting.
So also just to throw it in, a member of the chat pointed out that there's no mention of chat or RCS or anything. Google messaging was basically non-topic, and it's kind of funny when Allo has just been utterly abandoned.
It's like they don't want to. They just don't want to talk about it right now.
Well, RCS is Google giving up on Instagram.
Basically, yes, exactly. It's like Google saying like we're done.
For so long. I don't feel like this has been giving up. It's just
it is.
They're saying up on all the other efforts, and this one is just
they don't have to do anything though. They're saying, look, we're just going to let the carriers implement RCS, and our app will work with RCS. We're done.
It's never going to work. RCS, it's never going to be a good application. It's never going to have good desktop support. It's not a plan that has a chance of being good.
It doesn't. There's no like secure RCS message.
Yeah, every good chat application is an over-the-top thing made by a company with Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, what else are good?
Telegram.
Telegram. You're not going to replicate this with all the carriers holding you back and having to do all their implementation. And you can't add new features to RCS.
Yeah, RCS seems fine. Like if you have to use a text message, like fine, I would rather have RCS than like 160 character SMS. Right. Like RCS can do cool stuff, but like I don't want to use it for all of my messages.
I think calling it a new version of SMS is very accurate. It's going to be what people use when there's nothing better available.
That's a default fallback.
But they're going to raise the lowest common denominator.
But is that a more effective way for Google to go than going the way it's gone a million times before and tried to create what everybody else has created and been successful with?
They should have just fixed Hangouts.
No, it's giving up because they don't have the fortitude to compete in the instant messaging space because they've never been able to make a product and stick to it and iterate on it and make it better over the course of several years.
Like they had Hangouts for a while, and they were like, no, like Hangouts exists. It's all of our stuff is Hangouts. We're putting more services into Hangouts. Hangouts has SMS.
Before that,
Hangouts is your voicemail. And then they were like, but Hangouts, let's not pay attention to it for 2 years. And then now let's do Allo.
But Google Talk was around and great in the days of ICQ and AIM. But they've never been able to stick with it. Their ADD has fully taken hold. And they've decided we as a company cannot focus enough to make this work.
Yeah. Google Talk, however, aged itself out.
Right, because they stopped developing
basically,
it.
Basically,
they couldn't pay attention to it for long enough.
Yeah, like it shipped on Android phones, and people used it because it was on their Android phone, but it wasn't.
And in Gmail,
it didn't have the features that other apps did.
Talk was massively successful before Android was even a thing.
It
was very much because it was in Gmail.
Do you guys remember Google Huddle?
Yeah.
No.
Cord.
Google Plus?
You mean Cord?
Yes.
It was called Cord first.
Was it?
Yes.
It was.
Yes. When Google Plus first came out, it was called Cord, and then it became Huddle, and then there was another Huddle Messenger.
And then it was
app,
Google
so
Plus
then it
Messenger.
became Messenger. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But for like the first
and then it was all
it was Cord.
Yeah.
Google.
I forgot about that.
And there was that week where they added SMS support to Hangout. And there was that week where Hangouts was just the greatest messaging platform on earth.
It was
and then they immediately pivoted into destroying it.
Yeah. Oh, Google just can't focus on the chat app.
And to be fair, Hangouts was never as bad as people made it out to be, but there was such a love of hating Hangouts. This became a Reddit theme. If you said Hangouts, people said hate.
It's one of those things where you hate it because it could be so much better, and you love it. And everyone that was a Hangouts hater was also a Hangouts user, and they were frustrated by.
Were they a voluntary Hangouts user though?
Which is so funny because then you look at Allo, which was the exact opposite. Everyone would comment on it. Nobody used it. There were people who would just jump into our comments, had to say a lot of stuff, and the same was true on Reddit. Yeah, I know you're guilty of this too.
Allo so much.
I love Allo.
But
that's my main.
What?
That's my main chat.
Who are you sending Allo?
I converted my whole
found the
family.
Allo user.
I
There he is.
converted my whole family and most of my friends to Allo.
Do you
2
feel
years
bad
ago.
now?
Yeah.
Well,
Have you apologized?
when I posted about the chat thing, my sister summed it up correctly, saying, "You're going to make us change again, aren't you?"
Yes,
Your poor family.
Because we all used Google Talk many moons ago. Then we were Hangout. I made them change so many times. I love my family, but they have to hate.
But you're doing these terrible things.
Like every 2 years, I'm like, listen, we're not using this anymore. If you want to talk to me,
What, you're using that still? No, why are you using that?
I haven't told you to use that for at least 6 months. What's the matter with you?
So what else is at the show that's interesting? There were cars. I looked at Android cars. Didn't I ask you?
No, we did not.
I really wanted to, but I didn't get.
So so we've had all of Android Automotive, which is not Android Auto, the application. This is Android as an operating system built into cars. This was on display last year, and no, not the year before, just last year. And we've had. I wouldn't call it one technological year of progress. It's been one car year of progress, which is like a dog year in that it's much or the opposite of that. Car companies move very slowly, very slowly.
By the way, quick correction. It actually was 2 years ago at I/O.
2 years ago?
Yes, at I/O.
Did they have demos of it?
At the first one that they held, the one I missed, I didn't get to go to. That's the one where they first showed off Android Automotive as a concept car.
It was a concept. Last year was an actual
in a Maserati.
Yes, and it was
the Maserati was 2006.
Just to make it accessible.
Yes, so 2 years. 2 years. Okay,
mean,
so
2016.
Yeah.
2006.
yes. So they did the same thing this year. They showed off a Dodge Ram that had a full like stock Android Google car system in it. That looked super cool.
Was it running Oreo?
It was running Android friggin' P.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh. Because they are all trebled out and they were just like boom, new source code drop. And
show me the person to high five because you deserve it.
Yeah, I know. It was. I was so shocked. So now they have the Play Store on there, so you can download apps. It's all the Android Auto apps.
So it's like having a tablet in your car.
Yes.
No.
But does
It actually sounds
does
like
it
where
understand
in
that
your
it's in a
car.
car? Like, does it have car features in it?
Yes. So it controls the HVAC system, and it sends what? The air conditioner. It controls the air conditioning, and it will send like a little Google Maps screen over to the gauge cluster view. Interestingly, the gauge cluster can never run Android because it is not a real-time OS.
Right.
And
It's
safety
like running
requirements,
QNX or something.
safety requirements, right, demand that you have a real-time OS because the speedometer can never ever lag, no matter what's happening. I don't know why plus or minus 1 mile would be such a huge deal, because you have a window, you can tell how fast you're going. But you know, those are the safety rules.
So who has Android Auto in their car? Just a curiosity.
I do.
So I've had this for I have a 2016 Volkswagen Jet. I've had it for 2.5 years now, and after about a week, I realized that this Android Automotive is what I've always wanted.
Yeah.
Because I don't like switching over. Or I don't like using Google Maps and not on my gauge cluster in the middle, seeing the road that I'm on or when my next turn is. But if I use the built-in nav or the built-in maps that's not Android Auto, I get my direction, I get my heading, and everything is all right in front of me. The two systems don't interface together.
I mean,
there's all sorts of little things like that where they don't fully cross over. So
I mean, they don't fully, but part of that is the automaker. Like I have a Honda, and it does send over the distance and the direction stuff.
So
to the gauge
that stuff does come over.
I
in your vehicle.
absolutely get that. I've got a dual screen system on mine where the top screen, and this is configurable. You don't have to get this, but the top screen will absolutely show your next turn, how far away it is.
Yes, well,
It
yeah.
actually gives
In
you
my
really
vehicle,
good
it doesn't. And
But it's not. But it's not.
It's like
it's not like maps. It's not like you don't have a little maps interface.
No, but it would show your next turn or something right in front of you, so you don't have to look over here at your dash. But the built-in nav does that, and it always felt like it was, at least in my vehicle, it was kind of half. It was half baked. It was not fully what you would want.
I mean,
like if I hit the phone call button in my car while Android Auto's up, it brings up the built-in whatever Volkswagen phone call app is. Even though that I'm an Android Auto, but if I hit the phone app in Android Auto, obviously it works. But there's just some things that are missing. It's not fully conducted.
Yeah, there's
together.
only one system in this that's fully integrated,
and that's what's
it's
cool.
really nice.
Like that's what I think I've always wanted.
Ideally, I would just like the dash to sort of be Android with some sort of I don't know, like Android is not perfect. Like there's some sort of backups. Like if Android force closes, I can still see how fast I'm going.
Well, yeah.
Sorry,
officer, I didn't know how fast I was going. My app crashed.
Yeah, I had a force close in the dash. No, but it seems like cars are they're like computers. Like every new car you buy just has an LCD now that tells you all of your stuff. Like it would be nice if there was a way for for Android to interface with that, and you could get sort of content from apps on it. But I don't know. I'm still kind of skeptical of the having just your car run Android and assuming that's always going to be functional, because people buy cars and they expect them to run for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And if your car is going to maybe get an update, it might get 2 updates.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So all of that stuff is kind of weird. There's a lot of things that they don't have planned out yet. But besides the stock Android one, they also have one from Volvo that is skinned, and they have left AOSP alone. All of the skinning is through the resource runtime overlay stuff. And thanks to Treble, they're just able to drop on a new thing and upgrade it to a new version. And it was very easy. I mean, this is a car company that's running a newer version on Android than a lot of the phones in this room. That was really cool. They had the cars wired up with Ethernet, like a physical Ethernet line went into the car so that it could work for the show, which was really cool.
Fair.
And it uses a lot of split screen right now. Like the top was Google Maps, and then below that you could have music, and then you would have your notifications in a square of
And
things. It was cool.
So I'm okay with that because it sounds like it would actually be really usable. What drives me nuts about Android Auto right now is it feels like there's so many missed opportunities and they just stopped caring.
Yeah.
I mean,
Android Auto has not been updated for 3 years, 2 years.
I mean,
How
not
long
in
is
a
it?
significant
basically
way.
the same thing it was when it
Yeah,
came out.
it has not fundamentally
They
changed.
fixed
Hey, we have
it to
rounded
little
icons this
things.
past year.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the demos, do they get data from the car? Like, can you see like anything like, I don't know, like how long since you've had an oil change or
Like fuel efficiency,
or like
anything like that.
tire pressure or anything? Because there's that
Um,
tab in Android Auto, the far right, that's
should.
supposed to show you
That
stuff
tab
from the
is
car.
gone.
Yeah,
But it
Volkswagen
doesn't.
do
It
shit.
doesn't show you
Yeah,
anything
Yeah,
ever.
that tab is gone. I mean, the air conditioning stuff is data from the car. I've seen ones with custom displays that would show you like, electrical charge.
I mean, look, if my
Little
car's
bit
gonna
stuff.
run on Android, I expect it to like know it's in a car and like do car things.
Yeah.
When are we going to lose keys and use trusted devices to start the car?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One of the problems is I'm like,
I mean,
somehow-
that's
like
actually how a lot of
Yeah.
cars work now. It's your trusted device is a dongle. and you just lock it in
the
car.
BMW
Your
has a
phone's in
key
the
that
car.
runs Android. It
Well-
looks like a little car. It's a touchscreen.
You know, it'd be nice if maybe all of our phones actually ship with NFC.
Yeah. So there's a ton of questions about how all this stuff is going to work. One of the things they have now done though is garage mode, where you drive home and park in the garage and you turn off the ignition, but the car does not turn off. It connects to your Wi-Fi and does all of this nighttime stuff that your phone would
Maintenance
normally do.
stuff.
That's where it does its maintenance.
Yeah, it downloads updates. It checks for OS updates and
Right,
does
'cause
all
So,
sorts of
so your car has like
background stuff.
LTE. Or
Yeah.
something.
Oh yeah, it has LTE built in, definitely.
So you're
But
paying,
they also
so,
have
pay
offline-
$10 a month for your car.
Yeah,
by the way.
but Google Maps works offline and a bunch of other stuff. I'm supposed to get an offline demo tomorrow about whatever's
Yeah,
going
you
on.
never want to be like going to work in the morning and cancel your car because your system gets updated and your apps are all going through their processes.
Yeah. But give them what did the Volvo press release say? Volvo is going to introduce Android in a car in the next few years. That was the announcement that they made because we're on car technology timeline.
No kidding.
And yeah.
Yeah, as much as I feel like I've been abandoned with an Android Auto car, I'm also not that worried because I feel like by the time they actually get their act together with Android Automotive, I might be shopping for a new car by then. So I'm not super worried.
Changing topic, but something that I'm surprised we haven't
Switching
talked about.
gears.
Yeah, oh, there we go.
Ah,
I like
yes.
what you did there. Material theming. We haven't talked
Yeah.
about
Oh
that.
man,
Material
if only there was.
Liam,
Yeah.
would you like to talk
We
to us
kind of
about
have
this?
to talk about that, right?
So
The awkward.
So new material design has no name.
It's
Right, it's-
material theming.
it's-
right? Or
it's still a
theme?
material system.
Oh, okay.
Capability is material theming. That involves like a whole bunch of different stuff, including the guidelines and some new tools. The Sketch plugin components are improved. A bunch of new components are out like right now today.
What do they mean by theming? Like, well,
Um,
it's just a new design. Like, there's no.
essentially, so it's still based on the same foundational principles, right? But theming is basically just the fact that the components and the system itself are able to adapt and be tweaked and be more expressive in the way that you want them to. So like people, like I designed an app before I came to Google that had pill-shaped buttons, but that was not like a very easy thing to implement at that time. And now it is. essentially. So-
Well, right. One of the things I've heard developers complain about is that the design that the video that they show at Google I/O that someone made in Adobe After Effects is really cool and all, but how are we supposed to turn that into code?
Those are actually,
And
I mean, so
it's
yeah,
supposed to
that
be
was-
easier now.
when Material first launched, like that was a big complaint. Another thing was like,
The music player.
like
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yes.
never saw.
Yeah.
Ah,
We
yes.
don't talk about the music
Famous
player.
Google Play Music
It's like,
redesign.
wow, that's amazing. When are we getting that?
but that came from the same kind of like series of examples, like the material studies that you see now, which are like essentially products that were developed to feed back into the system. So like the Shrine study, for instance, is a thing that you can go on the code labs and like build that if you want. But it's kind of like I feel like the original launch of Material was like, here's a design system, and like here are the components of that. You can build on top of that if you want. But the new system is kind of like recognizing that it needs to be more expressive, especially to like differentiate how products look from one another. And to do that, we're like kind of going back into the system to examine like the subsystems that exist inside of it. So like if you think about the design subsystems of a button, like those include things like the shape, the color, the typography, like all of those things, and then coming back out to say like, here's how you can adjust each of those things in a way that's like very holistic and creates a more robust design system. So like,
so you want people to brand the buttons?
I think we want people to express their brand, and if their app includes buttons, then it should touch that as well.
Okay.
So I don't think you're like building a system just for the button, but
What if I wanted to build an app that was just buttons?
you could do that, absolutely.
Great.
I want to use that.
I am going to do that.
So what's out? Are there new guidelines and
So the Material.io site is like all updated.
Okay.
There's new guidance. There are new tools. We made videos. There are case studies. There's a ton of stuff there. The tool that I've spent the most time talking about is Theme Editor, which is like a part of our Sketch plugin that lets you like create the system. Like you create your own sticker sheet. So I don't know if you've seen like the old sticker sheet that we had, but the new sticker sheet is like 20 times bigger than that. And Theme Editor essentially manipulates all those components at once using color, shape, and type. So you can choose a color, and Material will automatically generate a 10-shade palette of that color. So it's all from the same family, and then it applies it to all your components. The cool thing is that like it's not just applying that one color to everything. Like if you have a text field, it's saying like, which swatch from this palette should we use for the hint label, or what should be in its resting state, and all of those are tuned for like accessibility and things like that. And like typography, if you select a font in Theme Editor, it looks at the typeface that you selected and looks at its existing metrics, so things like X height and optical size and that sort of thing, and will automatically adjust that to create a type scale that's legible at like different sizes for buttons, captions, headlines, all of that stuff. So there's a lot of like really nuanced, like interesting stuff that it's doing to basically take a lot of those decisions off your plate and like just create a design system.
And do you have like a quick description of what is different in the new Material design? But mine is white and round.
So I think where people are getting the white and round is from the Google Material theme, which is kind of taking these principles of material theming and creating Google's own material system. So like that's where you're seeing like the new Google News app and Gmail and all of those things. They're using that.
Oh, okay.
But it's
can
all
you-
like built
devs
off
are not
this.
beholden.
Can you explain to me
Right.
the compose button in the new Gmail? Because I have issues with that.
Yeah, so that's a new component called the extended fab, which you can use or not use. It's basically just a way to have a floating action button that has a text label. So that helps with a lot of things like internationalization, like places where icons are not like really commonly understood.
Isn't Allo's chat button like that as well?
Allo has one. There are a few apps with it. Tasks has one as well.
So in general, it seems like there's is there really a focus on like moving controls down more so that they're easier to get one-handed, or was that all pre-release stuff that's not
I think
actually happening?
I mean, I think if you're noticing that pattern, it's the result of research. I don't think it's like part of the guidance necessarily. I think you're still free.
Like the
but-
Tasks app. The Tasks app is freaking crazy. There's bottom hamburger buttons and a big
The text
so-
app, calling it an app is very generous.
So that's a new component, which is the bottom app bar. So you can have the app bar at the bottom of the screen if you want to.
Okay.
And
That's
it can also accommodate like a fab. You can have the fab like on top of it. It can have like a little cradle for the fab.
Yeah. It sits in a little hammock. It's a fab hammock.
The fab can be different shapes. So like
Wait. The fab can be different shapes?
Yeah, there's pill-shaped fabs.
Oh my god.
It's in the Tasks app.
Is it?
Yes.
you can go to the
Oh, in
guidelines
the middle,
too,
okay.
and
It's
see, like,
one of the
more
4
examples.
screens in
Yeah,
the
okay,
Tasks
yeah.
app.
Checking now.
Oh, yeah.
So is there an example of a non-Google Material Design
Yes.
2 app, not 2 app?
Is it one of your apps?
If you go to material.io, there's an article that shows like some of the work that we've done with a few partners already. So we worked with like Genius and Lyft and NPR and a few other folks.
Okay, and it's just Google's brand that's white.
Yes.
Okay, but the round, it seems like, is sticking around.
The round is an option. Like if you look at if you look at like the material studies, for instance, you'll see like Shrine has an angled corner, so it has this like asymmetric kind of cut surface.
Okay.
So there's a lot you can do. Like, yeah.
Sweet.
Round is not mandatory.
And that's rolling out to everything everywhere. In
all
Google land.
developers have this now.
Yeah. The new, I mean, also the other thing is like any new components that don't exist yet, like we're being very transparent about the roadmap for those and like if they're in progress, when we expect them to happen. We're planning monthly releases for materials. So like the guidance can be updated on a monthly basis. The code can be updated. The plugins can be updated.
Cool.
All of that sort of thing. So there's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
Good job.
It is. We'd be digesting this for days. Is there anything else that we want to talk about?
Oh, I think I would also say like if something that I've heard from a lot of developers so far is like, do I have to change everything now that like the guidance is updated? And the answer is no. Like since it's still founded on the same principles, like that's still a valid expression of material.
But like using the new stuff is like, it's easier, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're going to update your app, you should use the new
It's
stuff.
easier and it gives you more capabilities, but like if,
No need to do extra work if you don't need to.
Right.
I think it can just be like shocking to hear like here's a ton of new stuff and think like, oh my god, I have to like
redesign your whole app.
Yeah.
Go.
But the next time you do a redesign, use the new stuff and it's easier.
Yeah,
And
also
once you do that, you're kind of like buying into the future updates of the components, so you get like a lot more stuff later.
there's also a large crowd of third-party developers that are all like, damn it, I know you just said that, I still have to do it.
Yeah. Because otherwise my users will be so angry.
Yeah.
So there's the Android TV dongle that exists.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, but it's only for developers.
Developers.
Yes,
Nobody's
it's
gonna
the
see it.
ADT2.
You know what it is? This is
Yeah.
so. This is so people developing for Android TV have hardware. That's all.
The
it is.
many Googlers I have talked to have not ever said it will be available anywhere else. I say, so you made like 100 of them and you gave them out of the Android TV talk and now they're never, ever, ever going to be available again. And no one has shut that down.
I feel like they're just going to give them, they're just for developers and
But
whenever
they sell
very
development.
similar.
They sell development kits on the internet all the time. They sold Tango developer kits for years and years and years. Sell it as a developer kit so that developers have a way to purchase an Android TV device that will be updated on day one. Currently, there is no way to do that. And
this is true. No, you know what they say
that
when
is
you ask
very
them
bad.
that, they're like, emulator.
Yeah, emulator.
Yeah.
So right now, they're definitely, it's one of those things you just apply for. You basically ask, you give them a good
Only
argument.
at the show. Can you apply for this online?
There's
no,
a
you
URL.
don't get it at the show.
There's a
you don't
URL.
have
But
to
is it only
request
open
But
to
can you
iOS
apply
users?
for it online?
You have to
I
request
think
it online.
you have. I bet if
None
you,
of us are getting this automatically.
Yeah, no, I think
have to
you-
file a form.
I think if you have
So
an
what is the
IO,
website?
Ken Dev who didn't go to
it's a Google Doc.
yeah,
Google.
it's a Google
survey
Forms thing, and they
So people that didn't come to the show cannot get one.
I don't know.
You-
I don't know if you
well,
have to
yes.
have.
yes, you have to. It's a URL. They showed it at the session, at the very end of the session on a slide. You
Oh,
have
okay.
to go there. It doesn't matter whether you came to IO or not.
Okay.
You have to apply to get one.
But
And
they kind of made it seem in the session like, yeah,
Well-
and you're here, so you know.
there was
and-
definitely a cough kind of.
But there was nothing like when I went through the form, the very first page, it's like, are you a developer? No. Are you press? Yes.
And then it
Second
asks you,
page,
like,
all
Tell
of the developer
me about
questions.
the
Yeah.
app that you're
What
making.
do you want me to do here? NA.
Yeah. So there's definitely they're probably going to be sending these out to press, and okay, press is a special circumstance.
I mean, I don't.
They're obviously going to make it available to developers that are at least trying to do stuff.
Yeah.
What bothers me is this is still sort of one of those. If you're a developer and for whatever reason you don't get accepted, right now the only way that you can develop for the new launcher, the 8.0 launcher, is either if you are on one of the cable carriers that has partnered with Android TV and recently released an 8.0 device, or you have to have a Nexus player or the Xiaomi Mi Box.
Does that have Oreo?
It just in the last week.
Yeah, that
got
doesn't
it.
count. You want a day one update so that you can update
Exactly.
apps for your users.
Because the
And
de
test
facto
things.
Or
standard,
ideally developed.
the Shield
Yeah.
that everybody loves,
Which is
the
on
Shield
Google.
by far.
And
is the best
Google,
design.
and Googlers, will admit, that's by far the most popular
Yeah.
Android TV device.
And we did ask about that. They didn't give us anything specific. They wouldn't give an actual answer, but there was a very clear, just
I
wait.
mean,
Just wait. It's
if you're developing
coming,
for Android
but-
TV, you should just make sure it works on the Shield, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
But the problem is, if you're an app developer, right now, you don't have a choice. You have to find either two devices that kind of suck, or you have to apply for this thing and get it.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
to me, that's not an option. These are not the ways that
Yeah.
you should.
I want one.
be
I want a
restricted.
wall. I want a wall mountable solution for an Android TV device that does not build a computer into your television.
Well, I want something that wasn't released
Yeah.
3+ years ago.
Right now, I have a
Or-
Nexus player zip tied to the back of a television because I don't have a spot for a box. It would be cool to have that.
But with all that said, I still feel like the dongle that Google is going to be sending out to developers, this is basically just, here's what we're doing, but this other company's going to be releasing the exact same
it
thing
seems
with
like-
a slightly different printing and label and
a
packaging,
framework,
but
yeah.
it's exactly the same.
Yeah, it seems
And
like
you
we
can
should
buy
get
it for blank.
a Pixel dongle.
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. So I'm so convinced there's going to be a company releasing this exact same thing, because this is also reference hardware.
Yeah. It seems
This
like
is one of the biggest things that.
well, it's the
Android
same
TV
hardware
really
as a Fire
pushed.
Stick,
Yes.
so it's not going to be rare hardware at all.
But it is officially now actual reference hardware. It's not
Yeah.
just here's something we're doing, and it's
And it
using
seems
this
weird to
hardware.
have limited reference hardware.
Well, they
It
even
does,
told us
but I
they're
mean-
not.
Yeah.
This is a turnkey solution now. They're making it so you can choose this
I mean,
this piece of
other-
hardware, this piece of hardware, this piece of hardware, and then just make a couple of
other
software choices
devices
and
could come out
ship
with
it.
very similar internals, but it might not be the same dongle.
So yeah, Android TV has some interesting roads
Problems.
ahead, because it's getting better, but it's also possibly on a challenging road.
Anything else? Has this gone on long enough? How long have we been
A
podcasting?
pretty long time.
Probably 2 hours, man.
We could do another 2 hours.
Oh yeah. Well, it's
Intermission time.
we should, being that it's just I/O, and just for the hell of it, let's just say it. The Waymo thing at the end. Comments, thoughts.
Yeah, they tacked on a 20-minute. We were 20 minutes over budget. All of those 20 minutes were dedicated to Waymo.
Yeah.
And
Wait, no. So Waymo's like, look, we're
and talking
testing
about how safe
testing
they were.
snow. Like our AI can see through snow, and as
That
somebody
was the
from a
news.
very snowy area, I've always sort of mocked Waymo because they test in Arizona where the weather is incredibly
There's
consistent,
one kind of weather.
and the roads are very clear and gigantic, and there are very few pedestrians because of the goddamn desert, and people don't walk around outside. But they're like, no, we're learning how to drive in other conditions.
Yeah,
I'll
is
believe
it
it. I'll believe it when I see it. Is all I have to
Is
say.
it the seeing in snow that's the problem? Or does
No,
it
well, it's
compensate
because
for weird
their
traction and
sensors. No, well, because
things?
the sensors they look and they're like, oh my god, there's snow everywhere.
It
These
seems
are
one thing.
obstacles.
Well,
right?
they shoot a laser out and it hits a
And- but then
snowflake, and it can't see past
But
the
then
snowflake.
but their AI can say, oh no, this is snow. These are
Even
the
that
actual
subtle, I feel
obstacles.
like there's still existing driving in snow.
Well,
problems.
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
as someone who lives in an area where there's winding roads and hills, and it's a pain in the ass to drive in the winter, yeah. So snow and visualization is only half the battle.
Yeah.
Driving in the snow is completely different
Yeah,
than
if you
driving in the desert. and
Brake harder.
and for-
if you're going around a corner and it's been snowing, you're gonna have to hit the gas a little bit harder to get going. You're gonna drift a little bit.
or you
have
pop
to
the
know when
brake
you
and
have to
slide through it. There's different
Sure.
options. out
you
there.
have how you have to change your driving behavior because it's been snowing.
Yeah.
And there's no way to know exactly how it's going to be until you're there, in the moment. You got to figure it out. I don't know. I think an AI might be a long way from understanding how to do that.
To be fair, an AI might actually be better at it because when I used to drive to college through the snow and ice all the time, my whole thing was every so many miles I would brake check.
Yeah,
you do
that all the time to see how bad or how much you're going to slide. Because at the next stop sign, you need to know how far you're going to slide through it, so where you can stop braking. You play around a little bit to get a feel for the road. It's something I've done my whole life. You have to do it.
I'm originally from Kentucky, where we have like very cold winters and very hot summers, and so driving in the snow is like so terrifying for me. And I drove like an '89 Volvo, so it was like driving an ice skate. So like, the whole process of doing that is so terrifying that I feel like if it were out of my hands, I would automatically be like way happier. So much better.
I don't know. I'm the opposite. I've seen people move to central Pennsylvania that don't know how to drive in the snow and be horrible and cause accidents versus somebody
I think
that's
that would be
lived
me.
their whole
That's
life.
why
knows how
You
to
want
drive.
it to be the car's fault.
I want to see Google say we're now testing in State College, Pennsylvania. This winter. Like I want to see that. Otherwise, it's
Google,
gonna be
bring your testing program to a place that has winter, and we'll talk.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
But what I would like to see is a car that's smart enough to get up to, let's say, 10 miles an hour and realize I've had trouble getting traction just getting to 10 miles an hour. Let's do a quick brake check while it's safe just to find out if this is actually going to keep sliding.
You know what? If it does that, I'll go anywhere with it. Because that's what I do. So, do it.
And that's
But can you
exactly what I
imagine
want
being
to
the
do.
passenger of the car and you're going normal and suddenly it just starts braking for no reason?
Without a notification that beep, beep,
Please
beep.
be advised.
Please be advised. A brake check is in progress.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Don't think I'm freaking out on you.
But tell me this was not sort of the desperate react. And when I say desperate, I mean it in the most understandable terms. But this was a reaction to the recent misreporting of the Waymo crash.
Yeah.
Because all these outlets basically came out saying, holy crap, automated car just failed and got into an accident.
I mean, did they really? I don't think they said that so much as they said
There
like
were some-
Waymo car in accident, which is technically accurate. It wasn't in an accident, but it was not
in the stupid human.
There were
Yeah.
some that very specifically actually did
I mean,
misreport facts.
hopefully they corrected.
Which
that,
I just want to say, Ron, is a tweet that I've regretted replying to.
Oh yes, yeah, my super viral tweet. Yeah.
But so many sites, at least their headlines made it sound like it was Waymo's fault. And I really think the whole reason that they had that 20-minute section was
it must have been.
We're going to come out and basically show, hey, we made a really amazing thing. This is super smart. This is way smarter than what anyone else has been doing.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're smart enough not to have caused that accident.
But it was only a recap of Waymo, the company. It was not any news or advancement or anything. It was very strange.
They mentioned the snow thing, but that's kind of in passing. They're not actually doing it.
They were just like, hey, can you go up there and just talk about Waymo for a bit and then just leave? And that would be great.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Yeah. As a presentation, it felt very awkward to have it there, but
after launch, or at least announcement.
Yeah.
Here is what Waymo is.
It can see dinosaurs now.
Soon.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We've been doing this for a very long time.
We've reached Waymo.
Unless we've hit, just like the Google keynote, we've gotten to Waymo, and that means it is over. So, Cody, get us back to the window so I can end this. And, so that will be that is the show for this week. If you want to get in contact with us, podcast at androidpolice.com, and we will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
All right, so I can go pee and eat pizza now?
Broadcast button. Look at pizza's